Hello, Wear Many Hats listeners. It's your host, Mark Robinson, here again for more chats and story collecting of people in the facilities management world. I'm absolutely thrilled to have with me today Rafael Jacobs, the Director of the Commercial Division at LB Navana. Hello, how you doing, Rafael?
Very good, thank you.
You having a good day?
Yeah, pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's lovely to have you. Have you come far?
Our office is just by Monument Station, so
Oh, lovely, not far
not
at all
too
then.
far, no.
Yeah, I like the Monument, it's cool, isn't it?
I do. We've spent most of my career actually working in the West End, so it's
Oh, have
quite a
you?
nice change to be in the city, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Monument's cool because it's there to commemorate the Great Fire of London, isn't it?
Yeah, it gives you something to look up at when you're walking down the street.
You can actually go in it, can't you?
You can go to the top,
of it. Have you ever done that?
I don't think I can make the steps.
Oh, is there not an elevator?
No, I don't think
What's
so.
going on? It's the 21st century. Hey, what's wrong with these people? Oh, okay. Well, listen, Rafael, thank you for joining us. Like I said, it's absolutely great to have you. We'll start off quite softly. Tell us a little bit about your career. Starting from either your education, how you moved into the world of business, and how that has progressed into the role that you now have with your current company.
So I went to school in London.
Yep.
I then went to Westminster University.
Nice.
Did an undergraduate degree in real estate.
Right.
From there, I took my first job at Lee Barron.
Oh, really?
I've been there ever since.
Honestly?
Yeah.
Wow. How long have you been there then?
8.5 years now.
Really?
Yeah, so straight out of university, never looked back.
Well, you're just part of the furniture then, really.
I know, unfortunately.
And you've had various roles, I believe.
I have.
during time.
I've always been commercial property focused.
Yep.
I did the APC to become a qualified surveyor
Right.
straight after university.
Yeah. How long did that take you?
It takes 2 years.
Oh, really? And how old were you when you came out of university?
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
I'm working backwards now.
No,
I
that's okay.
must have been 22, 23.
22. So in reality, you were kind of going through some kind of education until you were 25.
Yeah, I mean, you do your first 2 years working as a surveyor are very much active work.
Yep.
You're working, you're earning, but at the same time, everything you do is supervised.
Yep.
Until the point where you become a qualified surveyor in your own right.
Yep.
Which was great. You learn a lot.
Yeah.
I could think of few better places than Lee Barron to have qualified.
Right. So they supported you quite a bit in terms of...
They supported us. They have an APC program that
fantastic.
helps people get through it with an external company.
Yep.
And at the end, you're working for qualified surveyors within the firm.
Oh, brilliant.
Who were all amazing at guiding me through it.
Oh, fantastic. So you had some mentors in there that supported you and...
Had some mentors, still have some of the same mentors at the firm.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is really great.
Right. Okay, cool. So that kind of takes us on to the role that you currently occupy within the company. What do you do right now?
So I went from qualifying up through the ranks. I'm now a director within the commercial division of Lee Barron.
Right.
We recently merged, so I should say LB Navana.
Right.
I have responsibility for the commercial portfolio team.
Yep.
We manage, as it's in the name really, we manage portfolios for a variety of clients.
Right.
That could be anything from 1 or 2 properties in central London to a 50 property portfolio spread out around the country.
Wow, it's quite significant then.
Yep.
Yep.
We have a couple of 100 properties as a team.
Right.
Spread, we have from the south coast right up to Inverness.
Oh, really? I didn't realise you had that larger footprint.
Yeah, so we cover really the whole country.
Right, okay.
I think I'm doing 400 miles next week.
Oh, really?
On visiting sites.
I hope you've got a comfortable car.
Which will be fun. Yeah, I hope so too.
As a man that lives up north and drives down south every night, I know how important a comfortable car is.
Yeah, so that will be all part of the fun.
Yeah.
For different clients, we do different things. So we can do from a simple property management role.
Yep.
We can do a simple rent collection on an FRI property, right through to managing a complex office building and doing all the asset management, all the property management, all the facilities management, financial management.
Cool.
So we are dictated by the client's needs, but we're there to provide all the services that we can.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. So on your journey over the last 8 years, what have been some of the challenges that you've faced during your professional career? Or some of the ones that stand out, I suppose, right? Not all of them, because we'll be here forever, I'm sure, knowing it's FM, but the ones that stand out.
I think in my career I've gone through Brexit.
Yes.
I've gone through COVID.
Yeah.
I've gone through the war in Ukraine.
This is true.
Each one of these has presented its own challenges to what we do in the property and facilities management world.
It has been a rough few years, though, hasn't it? Let's be honest. We don't think about it a lot, but it has been.
I think the problem, if we think about it too much, we'll all get a bit depressed.
Yeah. It's that old British stiff up. Let's just crack on and get it done.
Yeah, but ultimately, I think that's what's pushed our market through.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah.
I think people always need a property and a facilities manager.
Yeah.
Whether the property is vacant or let.
True.
That's a service that's always going to be required. Brexit had its own challenges. COVID probably had amongst the most challenges we could have ever thought of.
Nobody saw that coming, did they?
Nobody saw it coming.
Saw that coming.
Then just as we came out of it, we were hit with, particularly in our industry, almost hyperinflation.
Yep.
The utilities market going utterly insane.
Yeah.
And we're coming out of that now.
Yeah. Are we all not mad? We should all be mad.
I think most people probably think we are.
Yeah. We are a hardy bunch in this industry, aren't we? To be fair, when you actually sit down and think about it, because I don't think I've ever heard anybody list it quite like you did. And I was like, God, to be fair, that's all happened in the last 4 years.
I think we can all be quite proud. We're part of quite a resilient industry.
Yeah, we are.
We should all be proud of our colleagues that we work with.
Very much so. Very much so. Okay, and what about challenges to one side? What opportunities do you think that there could be off the back of these challenges that we faced?
I think if you think of each of them as a challenge, you've also got to think of each of them as an opportunity.
Yeah, agreed.
On the back of Brexit, whatever your thoughts were on it, it was changing the fabric of our country.
Yes.
There is likely to be new investment coming into the country. There's going to be some investment coming out of the country as well. Yeah. All of which will create opportunities for the property and facilities market.
Yeah.
If you think COVID was a huge challenge for us, at the same time, it was an opportunity for us to show what we're about.
Yeah.
It was an opportunity to show how we can do things differently.
Yep.
How we can achieve value for our clients and for the customers and the tenants in the building.
Yeah.
And pretty much the same with the cost of living crisis that we're going through right now.
Yeah, that's doing my head in. I'll be honest with you.
It's tiring hearing of it.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
I think thankfully we're probably coming to the other end of it.
Oh, I hope so.
Slowly, very, very slowly. I'm not sure everyone's feeling it just yet.
No.
But again, it was an opportunity to show how we can do things differently, how we can achieve value for money.
To be innovative and to do, to be more efficient and look at different ways of working.
Yeah, I mean, you had to. You couldn't just carry on as normal.
Yeah. So did you find that quite because that can be quite challenging as a professional, because you're used to doing things a certain way. You've then got to start thinking outside the box and looking at different ways to deliver the same service, but be more cost efficient, be more, tech driven to a certain extent in certain areas. How did you find that transition?
I think it's an ongoing transition.
Yep.
I think it will be ongoing for a number of years still. If you take what happened in COVID, you had your multi-let office buildings pretty much sitting vacant, albeit almost fully let, but nobody was coming in them.
Yeah.
You had a situation where you had tenants almost demanding that costs were put through the floor.
Yeah.
They didn't want to be paying service charge because they didn't feel they were benefiting from them.
Of course.
To a degree, you were able to furlough your receptionists, and we were very thankful that the government stepped in to help with that scheme.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, you had to increase your cleaning. Certainly in the initial weeks of COVID, every time you had a suspected case in the building, you deep cleaned the building, you steam cleaned the building. With nobody in the building, you had to increase your security.
Yeah.
Nothing changed when it came to lift maintenance. Nothing changed when it came to boiler maintenance.
Yeah.
You still had to do them.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And certain buildings, you were running your air conditionings and your HVACs on overdrive, really, to get the airflow through the buildings.
Wow.
So you had tenants expecting costs to fall because they were no longer there.
Yeah.
The reality was sometimes they were actually rising because you were doing what you could to protect your building and your tenants.
Yeah. I didn't realise that, actually. I never thought about it like that. But what an interesting...
Yeah, that's not to say we obviously, wherever we could, we achieved savings for tenants.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
You weren't using half the amount of consumables in the building.
Of course,
you were able to shut every second toilet in a building if they weren't being used. So there were definitely savings to be made, but it was a tough time for everyone.
It was, very much so, very much so. It's good that we've got through it, though, to be fair.
We have.
Yeah,
we have. I think we're all a bit scarred on the other side.
Yeah.
But we're getting there. Yeah. Everything is slowly returning to normal.
Yeah, I keep wondering where the money came from for furlough. You know, they seem to pull that out the bag in the same way they do for war, didn't they? You know, I'm sure we owe the Decepticons money or something, Rafael.
I think they're going to be asking our grandkids to pay it back, and they won't be asking where it came from.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, yeah. Hopefully, he doesn't get too much. To be fair. Okay, so what advice would you give someone that was looking to start a career in the facilities management world?
I think when we're in the facilities management world, you're dealing with two primary concepts.
Right.
You're dealing with buildings and you're dealing with people.
Yep.
I think as a young facilities manager, you need to understand both.
Yep.
So when it comes to buildings, you want to understand how a building's built.
Yep.
What makes it tick? What makes a building unique?
Yep.
What systems do we have in a building? How can you further your knowledge of M&E systems? How can you further your knowledge of the type of people that are working in a building to keep everything going?
Yeah.
And I also think they need to understand people.
Yes.
Property facilities management is a very people-driven industry.
Very much so. Yeah.
Your biggest costs on a service charge are always going to be your staff costs.
Yep.
You're going to have engineers, you're going to have cleaners, you're going to have security, reception, obviously depending on the building. So I think as a young facilities manager, you probably need to understand using the right people for the right role.
Yep.
Making sure you've got good people involved.
Yep.
But for a young facilities manager, just know what you know. Never be afraid to ask questions.
Yeah.
We're a really friendly industry.
Yeah.
There's always people to answer your questions.
Yeah.
We're an industry made up of excellent contractors.
Yep.
The UK has a fantastic pool of professionals.
Right.
Understand them, use the right ones, but never be afraid to ask them questions.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Yeah, there is a lot of expertise, isn't there?
More than people imagine, actually. Yeah. I've been at this for quite a few years now.
Yeah.
When I'm in a room with an M&E engineer, I'm just blown away by their knowledge.
Really?
Yeah, it's like double Dutch, some of what they say to me.
Yeah, dark magic, I call it. Raphael, I call it dark magic, M&E and all that stuff. You know, it's not really my cup of tea either. Okay, okay, brilliant. So, sort of moving on to something different. Obviously we touched a little bit on technology, and we always ask this question on the show because we love the variation of responses that we get. But how do you think artificial intelligence will impact the industry over the next, let's say, 5 years? And do you think it'll impact it quickly?
I don't think it's going to make us all redundant.
Right.
I think it's a technology it's a technology to be embraced rather than be afraid of.
Yeah.
I think 6 months ago, none of us had heard of artificial intelligence. Certainly none of us were talking about it.
Yeah, and most of us are now using it.
Correct. So to say how is it going to impact our industry in the next 5 years is it's an impossible question to answer.
True.
It's a technology that's moving so quickly that but by the time they've released one thing, they've got the next thing under development.
Yeah. How
government's going to regulate it, whether it's going to be regulated at a global level, at a national level,
at
a continent level, we just don't know.
Right. I think they're talking about that this week, aren't there? There's a meeting taking place.
I think so. I think I saw something that Rishi Sunak and Elon Musk are going to do a joint Q&A.
Yeah, well, that's going to be an interesting one.
Indeed. Two richest men in England.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I think as an industry, it's got a lot to add. I think one of the things I'm looking forward to seeing it produce is we've got so many systems we work on. We all work on compliance systems, a health and safety system, a purchase order system, a property management system. I don't think there is a single system out there, certainly not a financially beneficial system out there that brings the two together.
Yes.
And that's probably because it's too complex.
Yeah.
There is going to be AI packages that come out that link all the individual systems together. Yeah. And they're going to produce some fantastic financial reports.
Yes.
I think they're already out there. People are working on them rapidly.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be great to see how we take all our individual systems and start producing these bespoke client reports that tell them everything they need to do.
One system that does everything. Yeah. To be fair, I've worked in the industry a long time myself, and a lot of clients, they always ask the same question: have you got a system that everything can feed into, that can push out the data that we want to see, rather than us having to log in and multiple systems and dashboards for this and dashboards for that?
Yeah, that's where AI is going to help. It's just going to be capable to sit on top of everything, pull it all together, and get us the information we need.
Right, okay. Really good answer. Appreciate that. Okay, what do you think the future landscape of the industry looks like then? Because obviously COVID will have impacted that somewhat, I think. Brexit as well, probably. So where do you think it's leading? Where do you think we're going?
I think as an industry, certainly I've seen the FM industry become a lot more professional over the last few years.
Right. Okay.
I think the staff are taking on certainly facilities managers are becoming more professional staff.
Yep.
They're moving on from the idea of you're just the facilities guy on site to, you're the facilities guy.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah. So perceptions have changed slightly.
I think there's a lot more respect there is a lot more respect for facilities managers than there was in the past.
Right.
Which is great because they are exceptionally knowledgeable people.
They are, without a doubt. Yeah.
I think climate change is going to have a big play.
Yeah.
How we deal with sustainability as an industry.
Yeah.
We'll have a big say on what's going to happen.
We talk about that a lot. Yeah,
we do. And I think we're going to have to talk about it a lot more.
Yes, I agree.
And I probably think value for money is going to be the next, is currently the real big thing.
Yeah.
Is, are we providing value for money in every single thing we do for our clients, for our customers, for our tenants?
Yeah. Well, obviously wages are starting to catch up now, aren't they? You know, obviously we had the new London Living Wage released recently at £13.15. You would expect that the minimum wage will follow suit somewhat because, you know, for a number of years we were tracking increases of around 2.5%, I think, 2.53% year on year. Now we're tracking at increases over the last 3 years of around 11%, which is a significant rise in budgets for, you know, if you've got a cleaning team or a security team or, you know, other people that are associated with a business that operate in FM. How do you think that will impact?
As property managers, facilities managers, a lot of what we do is budget drafting.
Yeah.
We draft budgets for our buildings, how we think they're going to run. The first question you get asked is, how much has my budget gone up and why?
Yeah, yeah.
And the answer everybody's looking for is zero.
Yeah.
The reality is, as we touched on before, the biggest cost in any budget is staff costs.
Yes.
Whether it's explicitly mentioned as the cost of having a staff member on site, whether it's implicit from having a cleaning contract, which is obviously driven by the cleaners.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of it's in communications, really, how you sell these rises to your tenants and your occupiers of buildings.
Yeah.
If they understand that the only reason this has gone up is not to make the firm any money.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's important. We've all got to make a living.
Oh, yeah.
The budget has not gone up to increase someone's profit margin. It's gone up because we are now filtering that down to all the staff so we can afford to pay them living wage.
Yep.
I think if you can explain that well, then people understand the need for the rise in the budget.
Yeah.
And they can accept it.
Well, I mean, there's significant benefits to paying a living wage, isn't there? You know, in terms of productivity, in terms of the standard of individual you get and so on and so forth. You know, if anything, it uplifts, you know, the operations of a property or a building.
100%. We recommend to all our clients to pay at least the living wage.
Yeah.
Because you need to get the best staff on the building.
Yeah, yeah.
And that way you'll have the best service.
Without a doubt. And what's the feeling out there in terms of your client base with regards to the rises in wages across their portfolios? Are they pleased about it? Are they what's the attitude? On average, I don't want you to name anybody specifically, Rafael.
To say someone's pleased about costs going up would be a bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
I think everybody understands it.
Right.
You can't go into a supermarket and not realise costs are going up.
Yep.
And therefore, by extension, you realise you have to pay your people more.
Yeah.
So I do think everybody's understanding it. And as I said, it's all about how you sell that to people.
Yeah. I completely agree. It's how you frame the rationale behind those changes and the benefit, because there's always going to be a cost versus benefit, isn't there? I think so. As long as you adequately communicate the benefit, then you're in a good position.
And the benefit of paying your staff correctly.
Yeah.
It's impossible to explain that benefit. You're going to get so much better service. You're going to get a much better run building.
Yeah.
And ultimately, that you could argue that will achieve you cheaper costs in the future.
Well, I would say so. You know, well, first off, you know, your recruitment costs are going to go down because you're going to retain good people. You know, and that's one of the biggest costs of most businesses.
100%.
You know, which is really important. Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much. What lessons have you learned from a particularly difficult project that you've been involved in?
I think I've worked on quite a few projects where, as the property and the facility management team, we know what needs to happen.
Yeah.
But you're stuck in the position where you just cannot get client instructions.
Yeah.
We've all been in that position before. It's a really difficult situation. You've got your tenants and your customers pushing you for action.
Yeah.
You can't press go without your client saying so.
Yeah.
The client's not saying so for some reason, whatever.
Mm.
And you're just, as the facility manager, you're just stuck in the middle.
Yeah.
We've had a few of those.
Yeah.
I think the thing you can learn is be honest with everyone.
Yeah.
Be open with them. Tell them what's going on. Don't throw anybody under the bus, but certainly explain. Everyone's doing their best.
Yeah.
Nobody is just ignoring the matter.
Yeah.
Everyone is working through it. If people haven't got back to you, it's because they're busy on other things.
Yeah.
So be honest, be open, be patient with people. You will get that instruction eventually. There's nobody ignores you for good reason.
No, patience is a virtue, Rafael.
Indeed.
Without doubt.
Indeed. So I think honesty, openness, patience will get you through everything.
Yeah. Okay. So what inspired you to pursue a career in real estate, facilities management, surveying? Because nobody wakes up when they're a kid, because we all want to be firemen or policemen or cowboys or whatever, But what inspired you to move into this industry?
It's the type of question they ask you when you're interviewing if you're a graduate role.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I gave them some wishy-washy answer.
Yeah.
I'd woken up and always wanted to be a property manager. The honest answer is I don't remember.
Right. Okay. Fair. That's fair, though. That's a fair answer.
I remember, certainly for a while, I wanted to do a real estate course. Property interested me.
Yeah.
How I ended up in facilities, the answer is I'm not primarily in facilities.
Yeah.
I work primarily in the property team.
Yeah.
That said, the facilities managers in our team, they do work exclusively for our team.
Yeah.
So we do run the facilities show slightly.
Yeah.
We had a bit of a sea change just before COVID, really, in 2020, where we absorbed the facilities function into the general property function.
Right.
At Lee Barron at the time. And I think it's worked really well, to be honest. It's led to much better and closer integration between the property manager, the facilities manager, the client accountant.
Yeah.
The right people are talking at the right times.
Yeah.
So I've enjoyed getting involved more with facilities than I had done in the past.
It's kind of created a bit of a one-team ethos then, really, because you're having to communicate, aren't you? On a daily
Correct.
basis.
Whereas before we had an entirely independent facilities management team and then a separate properties management team.
And was it kind of them and us? Was it that kind of...
I wouldn't say so, because we were always quite a close company.
Yeah.
But it was certainly the properties they work on and the properties we work on.
Yeah.
Whereas now we have our clients as a team.
Right.
We all work on them together. Yes, people are assigned different buildings.
Right.
But we're now in a much better position to step in and help each other as we need.
That's good though, isn't it? That support is there across the business.
I really like. I think that's one of the things that's kept me in my current job is that you always feel supported and hopefully I'm now giving that support back to other people as well.
Yeah, fantastic. So do you mentor people within the business now that you support and help and so on and so forth?
We have a couple of graduates in the business.
Right.
We're helping them get through their qualification on the APC.
You'll know that better than most, I would assume.
Yeah, I've helped a few people.
Right.
It's great.
Yeah,
I enjoy training them. Hopefully they enjoy the work they're doing with us.
Yeah. So giving back is quite important to you.
I think so. I think we're not the biggest industry.
No.
Certainly on the surveying side, we're a fairly small industry.
Yeah.
I think if you get helped in your career along the way, you have to give that help back along the way and hope that the people you help will give it back in turn, and you'll have a continual cycle of helping each other.
So karma, basically. Yeah. If you help me, I'll help you. Yeah. No, but it's true though. It is. I think that's life though, isn't it? That's human beings, isn't it?
I think so. We don't help. We don't help to be helped.
No.
But it's a nice thing to happen along the way.
No, it is, yeah, without a doubt. Okay, so, what would you list as one of your, greatest achievements in your career?
I have to say qualifying as a surveyor was great. I remember
a lot of hard work goes into that as well, though, so there must have been a real...
It does, and I remember at the end of the process... First of all, it's exceptionally cruel. You just get sent an email in the middle of a work day, whether you've qualified or failed.
Honestly.
And this is obviously before COVID.
They don't even wait till like a Friday.
So we were in the office 5 days a week before COVID, and the whole office knows the day you're going to get your result, and they're all watching you, and peering over their desks at you. And you're just sitting there sweating in your little corner waiting for the email from the ICS.
No.
So it was a nice and stressful day.
Yeah, I bet, yeah.
But yeah, it's the end of your education.
Yeah.
You've been working for a number of years already, but it's the end of your education. It's everything you've worked for.
Yeah.
It's a great feeling.
Yeah, I bet it is, yeah. Did you ever go and have a beer that day? Swift one?
No comment.
No comment? Yeah, I was gone for 3 days. Brilliant. Okay. Conversely, any regrets?
I think specifically with my facilities hat on, because I qualified down the property route very much so as a surveyor, as a property manager, as a commercial surveyor. I never got that chance early on in the career to do what I said before of better understanding buildings and better understanding M&E systems in buildings.
So that's a learning from you that you're saying.
I think so. I think with my current hat on, where I'm quite involved in the facilities team, I'm quite reliant on advice from other people.
Yeah.
Whereas it would be quite nice to have had the opportunity to learn those systems myself earlier on in the career.
Yeah. It's still something you could do now, though, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Try find the time, but...
Well, but that's true, isn't it? Yeah. How many emails hit your inbox every day, Rafael?
Oh, don't ask.
Okay, brilliant. What about sort of outside of work then? You know, what do you like to get up to when you're not working, reading those emails?
I learned quite early on that to be successful in a career in property, you have to take up golf.
Right. Okay, fair comment.
So I did start taking a few golf lessons. Then we had a child, so golf lessons.
Life over.
Yeah. It was
wallet battered.
It was the best thing ever. We all joke. But.
Yeah. No, I've got 3 myself. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I love them, but God, they are expensive, Rafael.
They are, but they repay it.
Do they?
They repay it with smiles in the morning.
Well, yeah, but as soon as it gets to teenagers, they stop smiling, Rafael. That's the thing.
It's a problem for later for me.
Have you got 1, 2?
We've got 1.
Yeah,
he was 2 over the weekend.
Oh, was he? Oh, so he's still. I've got a 2.5-year-old at home, so I do know what you mean. Like, I love. But then there'll be other times when she's in a mood and she won't give me a cuddle, and I hate it. You know, I'm like, oh, come on, Abby, give us a cuddle, and she's like, no. You know, it's horrible, isn't it? So golf and spending time with the family is
I'd like to take up a bit more golf if I can.
Yeah. You any good?
No. I don't think they've created a handicap for my level yet.
To be fair, I've tried to take up golf a couple of times. I could just never get into it. It's not really my thing, I don't think.
So a bit of golf. I like to follow Liverpool.
Oh, no, dear.
For my sins.
Oh, God. Right, get out. No, fair play. So you're a Liverpool fan?
Yeah, doing a bit better this season, which is nice to see. Yeah.
Well, you've got a good manager and a good squad.
We do.
Fair. Yeah, I'm a Man U fan, so...
Oh, dear.
Yes, exactly. As you can imagine, I'm in real pain at the minute. All the articles are just... Every article you read is, why is Man U failing? You know, you're like, oh, God, it's depressing. How do you stay informed about new developments and trends in facilities management? Do you get involved in networking and things like that?
I think you have to rely on your pool of contractors.
Yeah.
Initially.
Right.
As I said before, we know some really great people.
Yeah.
So stay in touch with your contractors. Meet them for coffees regularly. Don't just meet them when there's problems.
Yeah.
Also meet them just for a coffee to say hello.
Yeah.
They will fill you in on all sorts of things going on.
Yeah.
For the qualified surveyors out there, qualified FMs out there, take advantage of their ICS.
Yes.
They've got some great stuff going on.
Right.
They keep us well informed.
Yeah.
But just get out there, meet people, read the magazines, follow the news, see what's going on. There are so many resources out there.
There are, yeah. Did you get involved with like IWFM or anything like that?
I think a couple of the FMs in the team do.
Right.
Personally, I don't.
Right.
We've got a great resource at the company called the Internal Academy, where we get regular training sessions on Legionella, on asbestos, and all of that type of thing.
That's cool. Is that online learning?
It's online learning, so that keeps us informed and on our toes with what we need to know about.
Yeah.
But get out there, go to the conferences, go to the property conferences. You'll always meet people.
Yeah. True.
You'll learn new things. They've always got good talks on at them.
They do, without a doubt. I think it's the PFM Awards this week, isn't it? I believe that's taking place.
I think it is, and then you got News on the Block in a few weeks.
Yeah. It's awards season in the FM industry.
It is commonly called a chance for a drink.
Exactly. Yeah. Without a chance for a drink and a dance, as they say, or to let loose. To be fair, and it's not like they don't deserve it. They do. You know, they work hard.
No, people work exceptionally hard. So I think it's really important as we get up to the Christmas period that people have the opportunity for a drink and to look back on the successes of the year.
Yeah, without a doubt. So, when in your sector, specifically your sector, because it's quite unusual, the route that you've taken, actually, because we haven't had somebody on the show that's gone down that surveyor route and then he's now in charge of sort of that facilities management element. Do you think that that's given you some advantages because you've gone via a different route?
Not having gone through another route, I can't possibly tell you what that route is like.
Yeah. So well, let's talk about you said not. That's not to say. Sorry, I probably asked that incorrectly. That's not to say that other routes aren't good routes. It's a different route, isn't it?
Yeah, I think for where we are as a firm and what we do as a firm, which is that all-rounded property package.
Yeah,
I do think it's a great benefit that we've got myself and other various people in the firm that have gone through the surveying route.
I would agree. It gives you something different, doesn't
100%. And now that we're involved in the facilities role, we can bring a bit more to the table.
Yeah.
I think for other people, if you weren't necessarily working on the complete property management package, then maybe the route we've gone through as a firm is not necessarily so appropriate and may not have so many benefits.
Yeah.
So I think there's dozens of routes people could take down the FM role.
Yeah.
Down the property management, the facilities management routes.
Yeah.
Each of which is going to have its benefits.
Yeah, without a doubt. So if we go back to COVID a little bit, what did you think, as a property professional, was the most difficult element of that time period?
I remember when we were still in the office. It must have been March.
It was.
Do you want to
know why I know it's March? Because it was my 40th birthday that year. I was supposed to be going to New York, and it got cancelled. I was gutted.
Yeah, so it was the unknown.
Yeah,
I remember when we had our first COVID case in a building we managed at work. So that must have been early March 2020.
Yeah,
and it was this unknown illness that was affecting the world that we were seeing in Italy and China at the time.
It was scary, wasn't it?
Well, it was very scary, and everybody was convinced it wasn't coming to the UK.
Yeah.
And we had these plans to deep clean office buildings.
Yeah.
And then it was within a few weeks, it was just all over the place.
Oh, it was probably already here for 6 months.
Correct. But it went from being this, if it happens in one of our buildings, we'll do a targeted approach, to it's happening in all our buildings.
There's nothing we can do.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it was that unknown and scaling up. And I remember saying goodbye to my boss one day in the office, and when we were shutting the office down for COVID.
Yeah.
And we just looked at each other and it was, see you when I see you.
Yeah.
We just had no idea when we would see each other again.
Well, we all thought it was going to be 2 weeks, didn't we?
Yeah.
But how long was
I think in our heart,
12, 13 weeks.
Yeah, well, I think in our heart of hearts, we probably all knew it wasn't going to be 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We knew it was going to be a while.
Yeah. And how interesting that we had such good weather.
Yeah, you're right. That first lockdown was extraordinary.
It was amazing, wasn't it? Like
we were all just sitting in the garden working.
Yeah, from the back end of March all the way through to July. To me, it was like, whatever divine power out there just thought, you all need a break. Do you know what I mean? You all just need a bit of a chill, which we all, I think, enjoyed. I think that we did, because
I think so. I think those of us that lived with family at the time probably had a great time. I think the people living alone probably wasn't so great.
I agree with that. Yeah, that's very true.
We probably all had different experiences, but the weather was great. You're right.
It was nice. Yeah,
you forget that.
Mind you, only being allowed out once a day. It was very.
It was tough.
Yeah, it was. We'll talk about this in 20 years, and we'll just can't believe that happened.
There'll be all sorts of studies on it.
There will be
from all different perspectives. I mean, it's obviously the inquiry's ongoing now.
Well, I'd say the consensus now is that we shouldn't lock down. That's the impression that I'm getting in terms of. I know that we're completely talking about something different here, but that's the concept. That's where I think it's going. It looks to be like that's what's going to be said.
Yeah, I think. There's going to be a lot to come out of the inquiry that's going to be quite controversial.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to see where it goes.
Yeah, well, Dominic Cummings has been thinking today, hasn't he?
Yeah. He's always colourful at the best of times.
He is, yeah. Apparently Boris Johnson didn't have the right skill set for a pandemic.
Who would have had the right skill set, to be fair?
I know, what a thing to say, because none of us knew what was going on.
Yeah.
And it was crackers when I look back at it. But to be fair, I got my little girl out of it, which I'm quite happy about.
Perfect.
Mind you, but I couldn't go to any of the scans or anything like that. So,
we had our little one during 2021, so it was the back end of COVID already then. But I remember being thrown out 2 hours after delivery.
Yeah, it was weird, wasn't it?
It was very strange.
Yeah, and I had to go home Like when my wife went into labour, I had to go home, I had to take her to the hospital and wait for them to ring me when it was like really close. You know, and there's always a chance you're going to miss it, isn't there? I mean, luckily I lived really close to the hospital, so I could get there quite quickly. But when you look back at things like that, it's absolutely crackers.
Strange times.
It is. All right, Raphael. Well, listen, that's been the end of the podcast. Thank you very much for your time. It's been another really interesting episode of Wear Many Hats. You found that all right?
Yeah, thank you for having me.
No problem at
Very
all.
enjoyable.
That's everything, listeners. Thank you very much. Cheers, Raphael. See you later.